Hi, my name is William Johnson, and today we'll be talking about the digital literacy project that we've been focusing on in COM 200. The format that we used was called Pecha, which is a form of presenting slides with one image per slide. Each image can only be used once, and 0 words per slide. Each slide can only be used for 20 seconds, which means that if I time this correctly, we should already be on the next slide and halfway through it. Pachakachas are only 20 slides in length, and each slide is 20 seconds. That means there's a total of 6 minutes and 40 seconds per presentation in a Pachakacha. So without further ado, let's get started. Over the course of the semester, we as a class have been discussing digital literacy and what it means to be digitally literate. We have read and completed many projects to gain insight into digital literacy. Based on the various theorists read and the various projects that we have completed for this class, I have formulated an idea of what it means to be digitally literate. In the beginning of the school year, we discussed how the education system is degrading students' creativity. This degradation of creativity has influenced students' ability to look at the world as a whole. The best example of this is the speech by David Foster Wallace. In the speech, he explains how we live in our bubbles, too afraid to think about what's going on in the world outside. The first part about being digitally literate is opening yourself to the world. We were first exposed to the digital world as a class through Twitter. Twitter has served many purposes for this class. At first, we used Twitter for the comments on the reading using the clever hashtag CTPF15. Then we learned from Silver the difference between thick and thin tweets. Another part of digital literacy is the ability to use open and available technology. Kevin Kelly shares this idea in a theory he calls becoming screen literate. Part of Kelly's theory is that in an abundance of screens and technology, we must be able to navigate through the distractions to get to the goals we seek. In other words, we must use technology for our own edification and benefit without being distracted by nonsense. Kelly slightly expanded on this idea in a piece he wrote, "We Are the Web." In this article, Kelly explains that because of the constant distractions on the web, we lose the true purpose of the internet. Kelly believes that we, the users, are what make up the internet, and it would be nothing and nowhere without us. Kelly is not alone in this, however. Sherry Turkle agrees with Kelly in her article titled, "Who Am We?" In it, she discusses how we have, as a society, have moved toward a singularistic view of ourselves to a pluralistic view of ourselves. Part of being digitally literate is learning to look at the larger picture. We were then taught how to use WordPress to set up our own websites. We each created blogs geared to our own interests. Some people wrote on meditation, others on cooking, others on sports. I decided to focus on the Philadelphia Flyers, as I am a huge hockey fan. This is the homepage of my website, but as you can see, I've covered many other topics, including the goalie controversy, which has been surrounding the Philadelphia Flyers this season. Through this, we learned the importance of engaging in activity on the web, through user interaction on our website, as well as user comments on our website and blog posts. We have also learned the negative consequences of activity on the web. In his TED Talk, Eli Pariser talks about the dangers of filter bubbles. Pariser believes that the internet is an infrastructure that supports filter bubbles, as he calls them. Filter bubbles are the internet's way of catering to our own experience to how it thinks we might want to view the world. Pariser talks about the dangers of letting the web control our experience because it can eliminate the ability of the digitally literate to be open to the world. Next, as a class, we did a diary of phone interactivity in which we documented every time we got on our phone, for how long, and what we interrupted while we were on our phone. The information that we collected was very, very interesting. For example, I did not have many activities interrupted. My number one activity interrupted was driving, but in my defense, I did get a text message. Overall, I found that I used my phone for mostly social interactions, either text messages or phone calls, with the exception of watching a TV show once in a while. Also in a TED Talk, Monica Lewinsky talks about the negative consequences of internet shaming. As most of us know, Ms. Lewinsky is known for having sex with the president. But how would it feel if you were publicly ridiculed over and over again? In the TED Talk, Lewinsky talks about the dangers of internet shaming and how popular it truly has become. The perfect example of this phenomena of internet shaming is Justine Sacco. Lewinsky briefly touches on her in her TED Talk. Justine Sacco made one racist tweet, and at the end of her flight, she lost her job and almost all of her friends. Action should have consequences, but the punishment of internet shaming is always disproportionate to the act itself. Digital literacy is a tricky term to define, but in communications theory and practice, I have learned what the term truly means. In order to be digitally literate, one must be open to the world while still keeping your eye firmly on the larger picture. One must also use open and available technology for his or her own edification and benefit without being distracted. However, in being digitally literate, there is also a call to fixing existing problems. That's what it means to be digitally literate. Thank you, and I hope you have enjoyed my presentation today.